Take one.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another Power Lab Skills video. Today, Keegan and I will be going over the electromyography lab, also known as EMG. For this lab, we're going to need our Power Lab components that we always need. We're going to need our Power Lab box, our power cord for the box, and then also our USB connector. So I'm going to go ahead and connect those right now so we can continue the video. So one end of the USB connector goes into the box, while the other goes down into the computer on a USB slot on the front of the computer. Power cord goes into the back of the box in this black panel, and with its power switch next to it. And the power cords are on each side of the table. If you have powered up the box, you should see 3 lights on the front, and since we don't, that means we have to hit the switch next to the power cord. Now that we have done that, we can see that we have 3 lights on the front, meaning the box has been turned on. Also for this lab, we're going to need several other components out of the box. We're going to need our Power Lab lead connector, the actual leads to the connectors to the leads themselves, an earth strap, conductivity gel, the external stimulator, and then we're also going to need 6 electrodes for this component. So to start with, we're going to set up the leads. We're going to pull out our lead connector, and these go into the bioamp amplifier on the front of the box. That is this big black connector here, and it only goes in one way, so if the adapter does not fit in nicely, try another direction. So you're going to want to make sure this cable is uncoiled to make sure to resist any possible interference or static in the cable that we may receive during this experiment. So try and lay it out so it doesn't coil over itself or anything like that. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to begin part 1 of this experiment, which is going to be the use of the EMG to track the muscle activation of a bicep and tricep. Now in this lab we're only using these 2 muscles, but this can be done with any muscle group on the body, and it can, as long as we put the electrodes over the proper muscle, we will get the proper readings. So first we're going to do is we're going to take out our leads here. It's going to be important that we connect all 5 of these today, unlike in our previous labs. And to help us out, it's all color coordinated. So we're just going to go ahead and plug in all of these into the appropriate colored spots. Similar to the bioamp amplifier, there's only one way that these can be connected, so if they do not fit, try twisting them around and putting them in the other way. So now for this next part of the experiment, we're going to we're going to start up the EMG program. So to do that, to find the settings file, we're going to go down here into the bottom left corner of the screen to the Windows tab, open that, and in the search box we're going to type in EMG Settings. This will bring up all of our files, and the first 3 files are the ones we're going to be looking at. For the first part of this lab, we're going to look at the voluntary settings, and then for the second part, it's going to be the evoked. So we're going to go ahead and click on the voluntary settings. This is going to open up a dialog box that says it cannot open. Just hit OK, and our file will be here. So let's maximize this screen so we can see what's going on. And so here we see that channel 1 is the biceps, and channel 2 is the triceps. So, and that corresponds to the labeling on the EMG leads. So the next part of this lab is we're going to hook up Keegan to our Power Lab box. To do this, we're going to connect these EMG leads to the appropriate electrodes or the earth strap. So first we're going to connect Keegan to an earth strap so he doesn't get electrocuted in any way. So to do this, you're going to open up the gray earth strap, and on the inside there is a little adapter to it. You're going to connect the green lead to this. Then we're going to put it on our subject's wrist, that we're on the arm that we are actually performing the experiment on. Fuzzy side in. And I'm going to use your right arm, Keegan, today. So you're going to put that on his wrist, tight, not tightly, but snugly wrap it around so that it has good contact with the skin to make sure our subject is safe during this experiment. So for the following two, it does matter which leads we use, which ones go with which. So as our indicator says, the red and the brown are on their own channel, so that's going to have to go on one muscle, such as the bicep or the tricep together. And then for our other channel, being white and black, that will also have to go on the remaining muscle together, but you cannot go on opposites. Tips for putting on the EMG electrodes: it is more comfortable for your subject if you put the leads onto the electrodes first. That way you don't have to mash these into their skin or try and pinch them on. So what I'm going to do is go around to the opposite side of Keegan here so it's in the camera on his right side, and I'm going to ask him to roll up his sleeve so I can gain access to these muscles easily and we don't have to fight around that. So first I'm going to connect hook up his bicep to the Power Lab system. To do this, you want to find the middle part of their muscle belly. And to do this on people that have a little bit lower musculature status, you want to ask them to flex slightly so that you can palpate that muscle and make sure you're in the middle so we can get the best reading. So since I can see Keegan's bicep, I'm just going to place one of the electrodes on the lower half of that muscle, and then I'm going to connect the other. I'm going to place the center of each of these connectors about 3 to 5 centimeters apart so that we can get the best signal. So now with that done, we have his bicep all hooked up to the Power Lab system. Next, we're going to connect his tricep in a very similar fashion as what we just did with the bicep. We're going to connect the leads to the electrodes before applying them, and then we're going to put them on the middle of his muscle belly of his tricep, just as we did with the bicep. You can get the subject's tricep to flex by asking them to perform elbow extension, and this will flex that muscle if you are having a hard time just seeing it. And that will allow you to palpate it as you are trying to find it. And then that last one will go, once again, 3 to 5 centimeters from a center to center of the electrodes. Cool. So now that we have Keegan all set up, we're going to head back over to our Power Lab system on the computer. And we're going to first check our signal strengths and see if we have to do any corrections on it, so that we can make sure we get the readable signal. So first we're going to go over here to our drop-down menu for our biceps tab, and we're going to the bioamp selection. We're going to select that, and this is going to bring up a little box that we can see what our signal looks like. And since it is very small right now, we're going to ask you to perform elbow flexion, and we're hopefully going to see a deflection in this tab as we are. So as we can see, we have some signal that is going off of the screen. So we can ask our subject to relax at this point so that we can adjust this so that we can actually see the full thing. So to do that, we're going to go to our range tab, and since we're at 2 millivolts, we're going to bump it down to 1, and we're going to ask Keegan once again to perform some elbow flexion to see if we've corrected our problem. So since we went the wrong way, we see that more signal has gone off the screen. So we're actually going to, instead of decreasing the millivolts, we're going to increase it to 5. And then we're going to ask Keegan once again to perform elbow flexion. And now we can see that our signal only at maximum really only takes up 2/3 of the screen, so we are fine there. So we'll hit OK, and now our bicep tab is calibrated. So now we're going to do the same with the tricep to make sure that signal is readable as well. So we're going to go here to the tab, drop-down menu. We're going to hit bioamp. We're going to ask the subject to perform elbow extension so that we can flex that tricep and we can see our signal. As we can see, similar with the bicep, it is a little big, so we're going to decrease that so we can actually see the full signal on the screen. So that, once again, Keegan, can you perform a little extension for me? Excellent. So now we're back to just about 2/3 of the screen, and that will be just about right for this experiment. So we're going to hit OK, and then we're going to hit Start. We're going to ask Keegan to perform an isometric contraction while holding the table, and we will see that both the triceps and the biceps will activate. So go ahead and perform an external extension for me, and then let's see a flexion. Isometric. Excellent. So as you can see, where he was activating his tricep, we have a strong signal, and where he was not, the bicep has none, but then when he activated his bicep, we have a strong signal, and we're lacking a tricep. For that wraps up the setup for this first part of the lab. We will bring you the second part in just a few moments. Thank you.